Have you ever noticed that the most powerful person in the room is often the quietest? The one who doesn't rush to speak, but when they do, every head turns? That's not an accident. That's the power of silence. It's not weakness, and it's not shyness. It's a weapon. A form of control so subtle that most people never see it coming. Silence can protect you from saying things you'll regret. It can make others feel the weight of your presence without you lifting a finger. It gives you the ability to see through people's words, to read the truth behind their tone, and to make decisions without being clouded by noise. The world is overflowing with voices trying to be heard, and yet, the ones who know how to stay quiet are the ones who truly stand out. By the end of this video, silence will no longer be just a pause between words. It will be your strategy, your shield, and your secret source of power. And if you're ready to learn how to turn quiet moments into unstoppable influence, make sure you watch until the very end. You won't want to miss what silence can do for you. Chapter 1. Silence is strength. Most people underestimate the value of keeping quiet. They think that power comes from having the right words at the right time. But often, true influence is born in moments when you say nothing at all. Silence is not weakness. It is a deliberate choice, a weapon you keep sharp and hidden. It is the pause that makes people wonder what you're thinking, the calm that unsettles those who expect noise. When you remain silent, you give yourself an advantage others rarely use: time. Time to study every detail, to catch the smallest shift in someone's tone, to notice the flicker in their eyes that betrays their real feelings. While others rush to speak, you collect information. While they reveal themselves, you remain a mystery. And mystery is power. Silence forces people to show their cards. It makes them uncomfortable, pushes them to fill the empty space with their own words, often revealing far more than they intended. In negotiations, in arguments, in everyday conversations, this quiet restraint allows you to guide the situation without appearing to lead it. And perhaps the greatest strength of silence is the control it gives you over yourself. It keeps you from reacting in anger, from spilling secrets in the heat of the moment, from making decisions you'll regret. It's the discipline to let your presence speak louder than your voice. Never mistake silence for doing nothing. It is an active choice, a form of action that works in the shadows. When used with intention, silence can shift power in your favor, win battles without conflict, and protect you from those who would use your own words against you. Master it, and you will hold a strength few can match. Chapter 2. Master your reactions. The moments that truly define your strength are not when everything is calm, but when the storm hits. People reveal who they are not in their carefully crafted words, but in their unguarded reactions. If you allow every insult, provocation, or unexpected challenge to trigger you, you're handing your power to the person in front of you. They control the strings. You just dance. Mastering your reactions means cutting those strings. When someone tries to provoke you, they're fishing for a response. Anger, defensiveness, panic. These are the emotions they want to see because they give them control. But if you can pause, breathe, and choose your response rather than giving in to an impulse, you've already won half the battle. You stop being predictable. You stop being easy to manipulate. Instead of feeding their plan, you silently dismantle it. This control doesn't come overnight. It takes practice. You have to train yourself to see an emotional spike, frustration, fear, irritation, as a signal, not a command. It's the moment where you step back internally and think, they don't get to decide how I feel. The power in that realization is massive. It means you operate from a position of choice, not reaction. And when you master your reactions, something incredible happens. People start respecting you differently. They see that you can't be rattled, that you won't crumble under pressure or lash out without thought. Your calm becomes intimidating. Your restraint becomes influence. You control the tone of the conversation, the pace of the argument, even the outcome of the situation, all without raising your voice. In a world where everyone is quick to shout, quick to post, quick to attack, the ability to remain composed is rare and magnetic. It's not about suppressing your emotions. It's about understanding them so well that they never control you. That's the true art of power. And it starts with mastering your reactions. Chapter 3. Listen with intent. Many people mistake hearing for listening. They catch the words, but miss the meaning. While someone else is speaking, they're busy constructing their own reply, rehearsing clever responses, or waiting for an opening to share their story. But that's not real listening. Real listening, listening with intent, is an act of discipline, focus, and patience. It's a skill that transforms ordinary conversations into opportunities for deep understanding and connection. When you listen with intent, you make the other person feel as though they are the only one in the room. You're not glancing at your phone, scanning the environment, or half absorbing their words while your mind races elsewhere. Your attention is total, fixed not just on what they say, but on how they say it. The rhythm of their speech, the subtle pauses, the drops in tone, the moments when their voice lifts ever so slightly. The silence you maintain while listening isn't passive, it's a deliberate choice. That silence is a mirror, reflecting back to them the space they need to open up further. People instinctively fill silence, often revealing thoughts they didn't plan to share. This is where intent listening becomes a quiet superpower. You're not simply hearing words, you're decoding layers of meaning that others miss entirely. True intent listening also allows you to hear the unsaid, the hesitation before an answer, the slight tremor when a sensitive subject arises, the way their eyes shift or their hands fidget when they're uncomfortable. These nonverbal cues speak louder than their actual words, and when you catch them, you gain insights others overlook. And there's a subtle advantage here, one most people don't notice until it's too late. When you speak less and listen more, you shape the flow of conversation without drawing attention to yourself. They share, you learn. You share sparingly, and only when it's strategic. Over time, you end up knowing far more about them than they know about you. And that asymmetry can be an incredible advantage in relationships, negotiations, or any social dynamic. In a noisy, distracted world, listening with intent is rare, and that's why it's so powerful. It earns trust faster than charisma. It creates influence without aggression, and it allows you to walk away from any conversation with more clarity, understanding, and leverage than you had before. The truth is, your ears can make you far more powerful than your voice ever could. if you have the patience to use them well. Chapter 4. Control the room without words. Power doesn't always announce itself with a loud voice or dramatic gestures. In fact, some of the most commanding presences in history have been individuals who spoke sparingly, yet had the ability to shift the energy of a room without uttering more than a few words, sometimes none at all. This is the art of silent influence. When you walk into a space, your body language is already communicating before your mouth opens. Your posture, your pace, the way you hold eye contact. All of these send signals that others pick up subconsciously. Stand tall but relaxed. Move with calm certainty rather than frantic energy. Let your gestures be intentional, not fidgety. The more composed you appear, the more others will feel they need to adjust themselves to your rhythm rather than the other way around. Silence, when used correctly, can create gravity. Imagine you're in a meeting and everyone is rushing to speak, filling every moment with chatter. You, however, remain still, listening, scanning, absorbing every detail. When you finally do speak, the room quiets. Why? Because you've trained people to associate your words with weight. And that training begins with restraint, resisting the urge to dominate conversations and instead letting your presence speak first. Another element of controlling the room is strategic observation. Pay attention to the small interactions. Who defers to whom? Who interrupts? Who fidgets when challenged? By watching before acting, you gain a complete map of the power dynamics at play. Then, when you do make a move, whether through a statement, a question, or simply repositioning yourself physically in the space, it lands with far greater impact. Even in casual settings, this silent control works. In social groups, the person who listens more than they speak, who holds steady eye contact without aggression, and who chooses their words carefully, will often become the one others gravitate toward for guidance. People trust those who seem unshaken, and silence, paired with composure, radiates unshakability. The irony is that you don't need to take control of a room to have it. By mastering your energy, posture, and timing, by saying less and noticing more, you naturally shift the atmosphere in your favor. In a world where most are desperate to be heard, the one who can remain silent yet be felt is the one who truly owns the space. Chapter 5. Protect your energy. Your energy is your most valuable currency, far more precious than time or money. You can lose money and earn it back. You can waste time and still find a way to recover. But once your energy is drained, once your mental, emotional, and spiritual reserves are depleted, every other part of your life begins to suffer. This is why protecting your energy isn't just a self-care habit. It's a survival strategy. People will always try to tap into your energy, sometimes intentionally, sometimes without even realizing it. They'll pull you into unnecessary drama, overburden you with their problems, or distract you with constant noise and urgency that doesn't truly matter. If you don't set boundaries, you'll find yourself living life on someone else's terms, spending your emotional strength to keep others comfortable while your own goals starve. Protecting your energy starts with awareness. Pay attention to how you feel after interacting with certain people or engaging in certain activities. Do you feel inspired, motivated, and clear-headed? Or do you feel drained, irritated, and mentally cluttered? The answer will tell you who and what deserves more of your time. and who or what you need to step back from. It also means filtering what you allow into your mind. Every conversation, every piece of news, every scroll through social media leaves a residue. And that residue shapes your thoughts, your mood, and ultimately your decisions. Guard your mental space like you would your home. You wouldn't let just anyone walk in without knocking. So why let any random negativity or distraction enter your mind unchecked? Sometimes protecting your energy requires walking away quietly. You don't need to announce why you've stopped engaging with certain people or situations. Your silence is your shield. The moment you stop feeding what drains you, you begin to restore your strength. And with that strength, you can channel your energy toward the things that matter most: your purpose, your growth, and your vision for the life you want to live. The truth is, when your energy is intact, you think more clearly, act more decisively, and handle challenges with far greater resilience. You're not just surviving, you're in control. But when it's scattered, you become reactive, easily influenced, and distant from your true self. So protect your energy fiercely, not just for today, but every day. Because everything you are and everything you will become depends on it. Chapter 6. Observe more than you speak. In a world where everyone is desperate to be heard, there is unmatched power in staying silent and simply observing. Most people reveal far more than they realize. Through their body language, their tone of voice, their choice of words, even the pauses between those words. But you can't notice these things if you're too busy thinking about what you're going to say next. True understanding doesn't come from constant talking. It comes from patient, intentional listening. When you speak too quickly, you give away your thoughts, your intentions, and sometimes your weaknesses. But when you observe, you gather information, patterns, and insights that others will never see. You notice contradictions between what people say and what they do. You spot the micro-expressions that flash across their face for just a split second. A hint of fear, a spark of anger, a flicker of doubt. You begin to read people not just by their words, but by their truth. Observation isn't only about studying others, it's also about understanding environments. Walk into any room and pause before engaging. Feel the energy. Notice who's commanding attention and who's quietly influencing from the background. Watch how people interact when they think no one is watching. This awareness gives you an advantage that talking never will. The ability to act with precision, to speak at the exact moment when your words will have the most impact. And here's the paradox. The less you speak, the more weight your words carry when you finally choose to use them. People listen more closely because they know you're not speaking just to fill silence. Your words come from thought, not impulse. This makes you appear more confident, more intelligent, and more in control. Mastering the art of observation is like sharpening a blade in secret. No one knows how much you've learned, how deeply you've understood, until the moment you decide to reveal it. And by then, you already hold the advantage. Because while others were busy trying to be heard, you were busy learning how the entire game is played. Chapter 7. Silence in conflict. In moments of conflict, most people make the same mistake. They rush to defend themselves, to correct the record, to win the argument. But in that rush, they often say too much. They reveal their fears, their insecurities, and their vulnerabilities without even realizing it. Silence, when used with intention, is not weakness. It is the highest form of control. When tensions rise, words become weapons, and in heated exchanges, those weapons are often fired recklessly. If you can hold your tongue, you shift the power dynamic instantly. Your opponent is left speaking into the void, filling the silence with their own speculation, and sometimes their own mistakes. The absence of your reaction forces them to question themselves. Did they go too far? Do you know something they don't? Are you even affected? That uncertainty is your greatest shield. Silence also gives you space to read the situation with clarity. Instead of being swept up in the emotion of the moment, you can step back, mentally even if not physically, and assess who is truly angry and who is performing for an audience. What is the real trigger beneath their words? What do they need you to say, and why are they trying to pull it out of you? The answers to these questions often emerge in the quiet space between exchanges. There's another layer to this. Silence can be a mirror. In arguments, when you respond with nothing but calm presence, the other person's energy often reflects back on themselves. They become more aware of how loud, aggressive, or irrational they're being. Without you to push against, their anger has nowhere to go, and it begins to collapse in on itself. This doesn't mean you should always remain silent. It means you should choose when to speak. And when you do, your words should be measured, deliberate, and unshakable. A single calm sentence, delivered after a pause, can cut deeper and resonate longer than 100 frantic ones. In conflict, silence isn't about surrender. It's about letting the storm burn itself out while you remain rooted, unshaken, and in complete control of your energy. The truth is, silence is a language. It communicates patience, strength, and depth. It tells people that you are not easily provoked, that your energy is not up for grabs, and that your mind is not a place where chaos is welcome. It teaches others how to treat you, and it teaches you how to treat yourself. But silence is also a discipline. It takes practice to resist the pull of unnecessary words, to stay grounded when your emotions are begging for release. If you can master it, you will find that your relationships shift, your decisions sharpen, and your presence carries more weight than ever before. So the next time you feel the urge to speak just to fill the void, remember, silence is never empty. It is full of answers, clarity, and power, if you're willing to listen. And if this message resonated with you, carry it forward, and let your silence speak louder than words. Subscribe now, and let's keep building the strength that doesn't need to shout.